Hello and welcome to another Amulet video. Today we're gonna be trying again the deck list that I posted this past week. I was interested in learning more about the card Scapeshift in Amulet. I think that what it does is very interesting and I'm interested in seeing more. So because of that I'm gonna play a league, and since I'm gonna be playing a league, might as well record it and share with you folks. So hopefully you enjoy it. But yeah, the deck list is gonna be exactly the same. No changes really, because obviously we 5-0 the previous one, so the list is perfect, right? No, but in all seriousness, I really want to, see whether, this is really like a 2 copies card. It kind of feels to me like this is more of a one-off fun-off that you will randomly draw in certain scenarios and it will be great, but you don't really want to be drawing too often or too early. So because of that, I think that this could very well be just a one-off. And the other things, like the other conclusions that I have drawn from their previous league and from more like brainstorming and thinking about the card, I know that I want to have access to at least 1 Crumbling Vestige in my mana base, and I also, even though I usually like to go towards 10 bounce lands in my Amulet lists, I think that Scapeshift heavily incentivizes you to be playing less because it's such a number, right? Like every time that you draw a bounce land, you basically are 1 land behind on your Scapeshift, which is a little bit weird. And the same thing is true for Ursa Saga, but like Saga is so busted that you can't really be playing in less than 4 copies because the card is just so good. So because of that, we're going to be playing only 9 bounce lands, which is definitely on the low end of what I like. I've seen some people playing 8, but that's just madness. That's just absolute madness. So, but yep, we're going to be trying this through the Modern League. If you're interested in supporting the content, you can do so, through Patreon and a bunch of other ways. Or if you want to use a free way to support the stream, just hit that like and subscribe button. It's free and, of course, helps me beat that freaking algorithm. You know that one? Yeah, that one. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you for round number 1. Welcome to round number 1. Hand is a banger. Let's keep it. So we can go turn 1 Amulet off the Cavern of Souls on Giant. Turn 2 Amulet, Bojuka Bog, play the Expedition map. Turn 3 Primeval Titan, Encounterable. Should be good. Should be good. Alright, Cavern on Giant. Amulet of Vigor, go. Fairly straightforward first turn. Siatora's Proving Ground. Well, that makes things really easy. So what we do now is we play the bounce land. We play this good boy. We play this other bounce land. And yep, we kill my opponent. So, and the good thing is here I get to go for haste, because even if this backfires, even if my opponent is playing a Solitude deck and they have Solitude plus white card, we still have access to Expedition map, right? So that can find Tolera West, that can just do the thing, which is pretty nice. I think I want to bounce. There's no packs to pay for, so I actually want to bounce the Growth Chamber. That's going to allow me to respin next turn. But it looks like my opponent doesn't have it, which means that they are very much dead. Boop, 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 boom. Only problem now is I have no idea what my opponent is doing over there. But like this means either my opponent is playing Jund, like some form of Jund nonsense, or they're playing some form of creativity. Those are like the 2 different archetypes that I would think when I see that. It could also technically be the Calibrated Blast deck. So we got some wide range of possibilities that we're looking at over here. So I think I'm gonna go towards creativity, though Jund is also interesting. So regardless of which one of them it is, I want Engineered Explosives. So like this is good against both Jund and it's also good against creativity. So I definitely want Engineer Explosives. Endurance is good against Jund, but not good against creativity, and the same thing is true for Hydroid Krasis. So what do I want to do there? I feel like regardless, I don't care for Cultivator Colossus, so that one can go. I think that Krasis is much better than Colossus versus a Jund style deck. let's do like a little bit of a split. So this one's good against both. I'm gonna bring just 2 Crisis instead of the full 4, assuming that I'm playing against Jund. We can cut a Steve for that. I guess I'd rather cut. No, I think I'd rather cut Steve than Scapeshift. And the last cut is gonna be an Arboreal Gracer. My opponent, actually Ursa Saga. So we want to cut a couple of sagas because of Alpine Moon, Force of Vigor, and I guess I'm gonna be bringing in Radiant Fountain. Yeah, let's bring in Radiant Fountain. It's better. It's possible that Boseiju is better, but again, like I don't know what I'm up against, so can't really tell. The problems of killing your opponent on turn 2, you know? Hard life. Okay, what do we got here? We have a hand very short on lands, but long on threats. So we can go turn 1 Gracer, turn 2 Steve. We have 2 looks at a bounce land. If we find a bounce land, this hand is an absolute banger. But if we don't find a bounce land, this hand is going to fall really short. This hand is very good against discard spells, however. And we're assuming that my opponent's on Jund, so I guess I'm going to keep this. If I knew for sure that my opponent is on Creativity, then I would mulligan this hand. My opponent's on Creativity and I get super punished. Whoops. I mean, I'm probably gonna Gracer. Against Creativity, just like playing out your random Gracers is not the worst, because they serve as insulation versus the Archon. I'm not gonna play a second Gracer, because if we find a bounce land, I want to make sure that I have access to this in my. So I really want to find a bounce land. Besides bounce, I don't really think that there's anything I'd rather draw than a bounce. Yeah, it's just bounce land. It's the only thing that I really care about. Bounce land. It's not it, but I get to play a Dryad here. Is that better than playing Steve? I don't think so. I think playing Steve is just better. We can play Dryad next turn. So my sideboarding obviously is going to be very bad. Alright, let's go find my land. Cavern of Souls is potentially fine. I'm gonna name Giant regardless, so I'm gonna play the Dryad here. I'm gonna play Cavern on Giant and say go. If my opponent does Archon, it's nice that I get to discard this thing and play a Gracer. Next turn, worst case scenario, if we whiff on a land, I can Crisis for... What's my opponent doing over there? That's wild. Okay. Well, here's a Summoner's Pact. Spell Pierce. So if I let this... Like, this Spell Pierce is effectively a Time Walk. I think I'd rather pay, though. I think I'd rather pay here. We're gonna get Prime Time. Obviously, we can't cast it, but we can cast this Crisis for X equals 1. X equals 2, I guess, which draws a card, gains a life. Maybe we find a land. Vesuva is interesting. That's very interesting. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4 to pay for Pact. 1, 2. Should I hold on to this Vesuva in hand? No, I think I actually should play the Vesuva out. No, because this enables... If I copy Saga, it enables Force. Although I guess Force is enabled regardless because they can blow out my Dryad. I think I'd rather copy Cavern here. Or a Ketria Triumph, actually. Let's copy my opponent's Triumph. Because I don't want Force to be able to destroy 2 of my lands. Like, that actually sets me back a pretty reasonable amount. I mean, my opponent doesn't have a token in play. Even if they Archon me, I can discard a Gracer and sack the Gracer. Yeah, opponent's just over it. Just missed the land drop a bunch. Alright, sweet. 1-0. GG's opponent. Okay, round number 2. This hand has does a whole bunch of nothing. We're missing lands. We're missing a Titan. I guess we could be okay with lands. Okay, let's think about this. So we can go turn 1 basic forest, Amulet. Turn 2, Sunhome. Turn 3, Cavern. At that point, any land of the top would give us Titan mana. So at that point, we need to... Like, I'm assuming that we're going to find any random land, and I'm going to hold on to this Vestige for dear life. And then all I need to find is a Primeval Titan. I am on the draw. I have double Dryad and an Amulet. Yeah, okay. I can also just draw Scapeshift, right? Like, this is a not so Scapeshift hand. The fact that I have Scapeshift is... Well, there we go. The fact that I have Scapeshift, it's like a kind of a big reason why I'm keeping this. Also, now if I find a bounce land, I have all the pieces that I need, which is awesome. Because I can go turn 2 Vestige, Dryad, extra land, turn 3 Primeval Titan, kill ya. Opponent looks like it's on Scapeshift. It won the paper event in Europe this past weekend, so not surprised that it started to see play now. It's very good against 4-color, but I think that we are advantaged in this matchup. Cinderglade. That's a Saga. If I play Saga this turn, opponent, worst case scenario, opponent plays Dryad next turn. Natural land draw plus ramp spell. I die, but then... Yeah, I guess I would not die because they have only one Valakut. So if they have Dryad, I could die, but otherwise I can't. So I think I need to play Vestige this turn because the upside is just too high of finding a bounce land. Like, if I find a bounce land, we straight up win the game, right? So the upside is like a little bit too high to pass up. And if I don't find a bounce land, I was not going to be able to play Titan on the following turn anyways. So because of that, it's better for me to play the Carmine Vestige there. And after that, I can just Saga for map, and that's going to give me the bounce land that I'm missing, and then that's going to put the Titan in play. So it's just correct for me to play the Dryad. Opponent plays Foothills and fetches. What could they have? They're not playing Acid Moss, right? Like, there's no way they're playing Acid Moss. Okay, Steve... And I imagine a random ramp spell of sorts. Renin 6. Okay. So they have Titan mana next turn, which is very scary, because now they're going to be able to kill my Titan, to kill my Dryad. It's a Gracer that doesn't do anything. So we're just going to attack Ren. That's going to force my opponent to do the thing. I'm just going to play a second Dryad, because my opponent's not going to be able to kill both Dryads. They can only kill one, even with a Primeval Titan. So that means that next turn I'm going to have access to... I'm going to untap with a Dryad and an Amulet regardless. So obviously they could have Scapeshift, right? Like, if they have Scapeshift, that's bad for me, but I'm assuming they have Primetime. In that case, they play land for turn, 6 mana, cast Primetime, they have Valakut plus Mountain, they kill one of the Dryads, I still have the second one, so I don't care. And I play my own Primeval Titan and I kill them, so... Coming on Giant. This should be lethal, I think. Unless they somehow have a way of answering my Amulet of Vigor, which seems unlikely. Play Dwarven Mine. There's Primetime. Sounds good. So they're going to get Valakut Mountain and shoot one of my Dryads. If they don't shoot one of the Dryads, I have clear lethal. And if they shoot one of the Dryads, then I'm going to have to... I mean, if I draw any land at all, I have actual lethal. But if I don't draw a land that I'm missing, then I have to use 2 mana to crack for a bounce land. Play bounce, use my second land to play the second bounce. I guess I have Gracer, so I can still kill. So it's fine. Oh, I can find... yeah, we're fine. Yeah, this is good. Also, my opponent seems to be new to the deck because they fetched Dwarven Mine, and this only triggers when the land enters untapped, and the land enters tapped by default because of Primeval Titan. Also, my opponent, I guess, they're going to minus Ren. Yeah, whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah, so I have Dryad, and I'm just going to Titan them, so this is... Also, I can just, draw the card that I'm missing, so that also helps. So now I can just go for Amulet instead, which overkills my opponent, which is obviously the better play, right? Killing your opponent is a bad play compared to overkilling your opponent. But yeah, I guess I had lethal regardless. Let's kill the Primetime for good measure. There we go. Stack my triggers properly. Float my mana properly. Red mana. Haste there. Yes, always healed. Go face, whatever. Yes, Valakut, Suva. All of these target you. We also get to double strike, which is nice. Red, white, red. Yes. Alright, Scapeshift. Red, green, Scapeshift. We don't really have too much for this matchup, really. So we have access to a second copy of a Seiju, which is just better than Bojuka Bog. Actually, Radiant Fountain has situations where it's actually good, surprisingly enough. I think Force is good. Cultivator is interesting. Cultivator is very interesting. So Force kills both Alpine Moon or Damping Sphere if my opponent's playing any of those, and it kills Dryad, so that's probably worth bringing in. But Cultivator is very interesting because it allows me to really go over the top if I have to, which I may need to in some scenarios. I definitely don't want to cut any of my RAM. Like, being fast is exactly what this matchup is about, so my biggest priority is to try to be as fast as possible. I think I'm going to cut one Force and maybe one Scapeshift. Huh. What's the last cut? On the draw, maybe it is the Cultivator. Yeah, I think on the draw is going to be the Cultivator. Maybe on the play I can leverage Cultivator a little bit better. What do we got here? Boseiju is kind of nice. We have double Valakut. We have Expedition Map. So this hand is very good if my opponent has a reactive hand. Like if they have one of those Force heavy hands, like this is exactly what I want, right? Like a hand that doesn't care whatsoever about anything that my opponent can do. The problem with this hand, it does, I mean, I guess it does have Titan mana. We go turn 1, turn 2 Steve plus Valakut. That is gonna be 5 mana on turn 3. It's not quite enough. Not quite enough. I think that's kind of fine though. Like, this is a potential turn 4 Titan, but like it's very good against my opponent's interaction. So I'm just hoping that my opponent has a reactive hand as opposed to a proactive one. That looks very proactive to me though. Well, this hand got a whole lot better now. So I think we still go turn 1 Gracer into Valakut. Because now I can go turn 2 Amulet of the Valakut, play out Valakut, and play Steve, which just uses my mana a lot more efficiently. So now we're looking for a Primeval Titan. We do have access to Expedition Map, which can find me Tolera West, but I don't have the blue mana for it just yet, so a little bit lacking there in that department. My opponent has a very good hand. Turn 1 Search for Tomorrow into turn 2 Explore. And they only have 4 searches for tomorrow in their entire deck, right? Like, that's not bad though. Gonna go ahead and say that that is not pretty. So now we're gonna play this out. Now I can play Steve and say go. The nice thing about this is like I may need to keep. No, never mind. Because I already played the castle. I was gonna say like I may need for the castle to enter tapped, so I don't. But I don't have to crack the Steve. I already played the castle, so never mind. Just being silly. Let's see if my opponent has a reactive hand. It's still very proactive. Okay. No need for me to crack Steve here. So I'm just gonna... I wonder why they got a basic forest. Oh, because they don't have any other green source. Just main phase do this. Oh, for that. Okay, sounds good. Do I chill here? I think I chill. And the reason to chill is in case I draw a Dryad. I did not draw a Dryad. It's very much not a Dryad. I think I'm gonna go... if I go for Saga, we get super blown out. Like, crazy blown out. So I think I'm just gonna play Valakut and say go. So just pass the turn. I do get blown out by Force is what I mean. Well, that's good for me. So they don't have a payoff spell. Ren and 6. Well, that's a pretty good one. So I would really like to draw a Dryad here. Okay, so their hand is Shelter Thicket plus Unknown. And they start triggering Valakuts, which doesn't really do anything, but might as well, I guess. Okay, so now we have perfect information. They have, like, I guess we don't because they're going to cycle, but we know that they don't have force. So now I'm a little bit more interested in holding on to this. Excellent. Well, that's very good. So now I can go map for Vesuva. Like, we know my opponent has nothing of relevance. So I map for Vesuva, play Vesuva, play land. That's 3 triggers. Yeah, this is just lethal. So map for Vesuva, Vesuva Valakut. On all of this because I did not crack my Steve for no reason. Oh, fetch to thing. Jesus. Don't fetch to thing, people. Fetching to thin is a trap. Fetching to thin is a trap. You saw it here first. You saw it here first. Fetching to thin is a trap. I'd like to go at your face, please, and thank you. 2-0, baby. 2-0. Yep. You may cycle away, my friend. You may cycle away. Yep. Sounds about right. 2 o'clock. Round number 3, and in case you're wondering, this hand is extremely good. So we'll keep it. Sparbluff Canal. So we're gonna go turn 1, Cavern on Giant. And we're gonna cross our fingers that my opponent does not have a Spell Pierce over there. Oh. Okay. So this is Living End, which makes things a lot more interesting. Makes things a lot more interesting because that's a really bad draw. But now Subtlety comes onto the equation. So they didn't force my Amulet last time, so I'm assuming that they don't have a force for this one unless they drew it off the draw step, because it can't have been off the... Okay, I guess they cycle again looking for force. But yeah, so they didn't find the force of the Curator, right? So if they find the force, need to be off of these cyclers right here. Alright, so I guess we Dryad here. If I Dryad, leave green floating. Dryad, leave green floating. I can't Primetime unless I Pact, which is very scary. I don't think I'm willing to do that, because then we just lose to Subtlety. So, but then we're kind of in trouble if my opponent has Grief. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go for Dryad and see if my opponent has Subtlety. I'm gonna bounce the bounce land, which could punish us, but I think my opponent has the Subtlety, so I'm not gonna Pact. I guess what I can do is can I Scapeshift? Does that do anything for me? Okay, so they did have Subtlety, as suspected, and I think I want to keep these on top. I mean, I could Pact for a Sousa. No, never mind, I can't. Never mind. So I think we'll leave Dryad on top and we go for it again next turn. But makes me a little bit sad that I didn't play out the Gruul Turf. I guess there was nothing I could do, never mind. So now we have to do this. But now we actually get to float green here. And I bounce this. This is 3 mana. This is 3 mana. Play Dryad. And... oh no, I can't cast the Primetime now. Whoops. We're gonna Outburst here. What this does is this puts a Subtlety in play, but this is not lethal, unless I'm mistaken here. So this not being lethal, 7, 10, yeah, this is not lethal, so we're still fine. Unless they have another Subtlety, which seems kind of unlikely, considering this is game 1, so they probably have like 2 of these in the main deck, and they have more copies in the sideboard. They could have Grief though. Grief would be a problem. Ugh. They have the second copy. Eesh. That sucks. Yeah, that really sucks. Okay, opponent passes the turn. They tanked for a while and then they passed the turn. So I think what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna play Boros Garrison. And we're just gonna float some mana. Play my Dryad. Yeah, I guess white mana floating doesn't really matter. Do they have another Subtlety? They don't. So now, play Primeval Titan. So assuming they don't have interaction, we have super lethal here. Definitely want to leave the Garrison in place so we can copy. Let's play Primetime. White mana floating. Okay. I'm gonna pact now, because we're not gonna have a next turn, we're dead. So if my opponent has a force, I'm gonna change my play here. Ooh, we can Colossus here? That's pretty interesting. So we get 2 bounce lands and we Colossus. Okay, I'm into it. Yes, get 2 growth chambers. This is gonna be 8 mana. Float some mana. Float some mana. And with the Scapeshift in hand, this should be bounce that. And we're gonna bounce that one too. 1, 2, 3, 4. If they have subtlety, like again, like we're dead anyway, right? If they have subtlety, because they just kill us in the air. So this is just like the highest upside play. This looks like a significant amount of mana. Gonna name Giant here, I guess, because why not? Gonna name Dryad with this one, because why not? More lands. More lands. Hey, there we go. More lands. So that happened. Alright, so bounce trigger. Oh yes. Oh yes, Moto making me click through all of this. You'll love to see it. Bounce trigger. It resets and I have to go all the way back. Bounce trigger. And bounce trigger. Always want to put these on the stack first. Then we want to put, I guess, all of the, I guess the 2 Valakut triggers, because why not? And then we're just gonna put all of the, I guess I want to look for the Stronghold triggers. Stronghold, where are you? That's Stronghold. There we go. And then everything else doesn't matter. So everything else is just gonna be like random clicks. And the very last thing, of course, is the Ursa Saga trigger. This was fun. This was pretty fun. We made some mana. To be fair, like I could have just gotten a Primeval Titan and we would have been kind of in the same spot. Like it really wasn't that big of a deal. But it was funnier to go for Cultivator here. So I did it. Okay. Bounce land. Bounce land. Gonna do a significant amount of mana floating here. Tap that. Tap that. What's next? Covenant Dryad. Oof, we get to play Dryad. Counterwall Dryad, love to see it. Mana from Saga. Mana from another Saga. What this was. Whatever. We'll figure out. We'll figure out when we get there. Opponent really wants me to click through all of this, don't they? I feel like they really do all of this. They want to punish me for playing a combo. How do I dare? How do I dare playing a combo there? Alright, we're almost there, folks. Bear with me. So I think what's likely that's going to happen here is my opponent has another Violent Outburst. So because of that, I have to actually be very careful with what I do. But the good thing about this is that because of all of these bounce triggers, I get to just kill my opponent without needing to go to combat. So that's cool. Let's float a mana from this. Bounce here. And now we can play map. We're going to crack map for another Valakut. Let's play Gracer. Play Valakut. Target your face. Target your face. Puts my opponent on 1. Green. Now we explore. And we play whatever land. This is going to force the issue. So now my opponent has to Violent Outburst. And we still have a gazillion mana. And we still have a Dryad in our hand. So that's also cool. Float mana. Oh, or they just die. That's also something that can happen. Excellent. Okay, so Endurance obviously is fantastic in this matchup. Radiant Fountain, I think it's solid enough. And that's about it. Everything else is pretty bad. From the sideboard, that is. We can cut at least the Cavern of Souls. Maybe actually, we want to cut a couple of Sagas. This is 30 lands. Let's go up to 31. Can be a little bit more comfortable there. I think Colossus is fine. It's kind of rough though, sometimes. Shave down a Gracer and Maybe Scapeshift. Actually, I'm on the draw. Let's cut a Cavern of Souls. On the play, I think I'm going to bring back the Cavern, or I guess Boseiju is a better green source because it helps me cast Scapeshift, Explore, and it pays for Pact. It also is better with Castle Garenbrig, so maybe Boseiju is better. Yeah, actually I'm sold. So if I'm going to be cutting this, I'd rather have a second Boseiju than the third Cavern of Souls. But yeah, so the reason why I like Cultivator is like a very common play pattern versus Living End while being on the draw is you can go turn 1, land go, turn 2, play a bounce land, and then you can go to discard. And what that does is it makes it so you put a Colossus in the graveyard or a Primeval Titan. So by having more, like, 5 cards that are game winning if my opponent puts them back with Living End, then I'm putting myself in a situation where that scenario is more likely to happen. So this hand loses real hard to Force of Negation, but it's very good otherwise. To Force of Vigor, sorry, my bad. This hand really loses to Force of Vigor. It is otherwise very strong. I think I'm keeping it, accepting that fact, and now I'm even happier that I brought in the second Boseiju. Leyline is interesting. I guess it blanks Endurance, so it makes sense. Opponent looking for a Grief, or a black card to pitch to Grief. Well, not a black card, because they cycle the black card, so... okay, so... that is kind of nice, because what that does for me is it makes it so Force punishes me less. Because I kind of don't want to expose this Saga just yet. But now next turn I can, if my opponent doesn't answer my Amulet, okay, short on lands, because they kept a Leyline in hand. I mean, Leyline's pretty good though, right? Because I have Map, which could go with Boseiju, but now I can't really do that, so... okay, so we go Vestige. Let's go Vestige, Dryad. And if this resolves, if they don't have Subtlety, I can go Saga Map. So now Map cracks for Tolaria West, and then I can go that way. My opponent does not have a particularly threatening graveyard right now. The good thing is that next turn I think I'm just going to play double bounce, and the reason for this is I can then transmute, and then if my Dryad dies I can still pay for Pact, so I don't get just owned by my opponent having Outburst. So as is, this is 7 mana, it's going to cost me 5 to crack this and transmute, so I feel like that's fine. They Outburst main phase. See if they show me any sideboard cards here. They do, they are playing Force. So I guess I do want to upkeep, crack this so I don't just waste a draw step. So I'm going to put a stop on my upkeep after my opponent resolves their Architects of Will trigger. This is 13 power, not quite enough. I guess I'd rather have Boseiju, huh? To deal with this. If I have Boseiju for this, because I don't have double blue to transmute anyway. Like, I just don't have the time. So I think Boseiju is better. You see why? And that is why. And scene. Alright, that's cool. So now I get to make a... I guess I can make a blocker if I wanted to. I may not want to. We'll see. They play out Aurora, so that probably tells me that they have... Interesting. So this is 10. So we just take 10. Make a construct. Why would they not attack? A little bit confused there. Foundation break. That's why. Doesn't make too much sense, really. Should have destroyed this. Like, this is an amulet, right? But it's also a land. So, like, now I have the amulet and the mana to cast Primeval Titan, so I don't think that was a good play from my opponent right there. They could have subtlety and then nothing matters, right? So there's also that, but... So this is fine. If they have subtlety, I am just dead. There's nothing I can do. But otherwise... So they had a turn 0 Leyline into Cycle, cycle, cycle. Turn 3 Living End into turn 4 land Foundation Breaker your Amulet into Subtlety. Yep, that's why Living End is so powerful, right? Like some hands you just cannot beat. Some hands it just doesn't matter what you do, you just cannot win the game. Like it's just sort of scripted that they will win, which is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. I think I'd rather have Scapeshift than Cultivator Colossus. It's more likely that my opponent has Subtlety than they have Force. Force of Negation, that is. Game number 3. Ugh. This hand is quite interesting, actually. So any green source on this hand is great. Also, what I really like about this hand is the fact that Grief is just terrible for my opponent. Alright, let's say if my opponent has the absolute nutter butters once again. So we're looking for a green land, really? Preferably a bounce land. But yeah, so like my opponent has Grief here, like that makes it so awkward for them. Because we have double, like the double natural Valakut. Nice. Well, this is great, because this tells me that they don't have, like we have nothing to do with double Amulet, and it tells me that they don't have Force. Because otherwise, you know, they do have that. Which is a little bit annoying, and it makes their Grief a lot better now. Okay, here's my Dryad, and here's my Valak. So if they get their thing back now we may be in a little bit of an awkward spot. Like, if they Grief me, then I'm actually pretty heavy favorite to win, I think, awkwardly enough. But if they... The thing is that if they Outburst here, like if they Living End here, like it's not that good for them. Like they get a 4/4 and a 2/2. Can probably beat that fairly easily. Yeah, and the main thing's Outburst too. I guess this is a May, so they will choose no, but that's pretty funny. Okay. That's a green source, so play my land and say go. So we're just gonna start jamming some Primeval Titans. Now Grief is a problem though. Opponent's down to 3 cards in hand, however. Ooh, that's a combo. That is a combo. So I think what I'm getting with this Primetime is just like double Growth Chamber. Ugh, they have Subtlety. That's gross. So, I mean, there's not much that I can do here. Just have to jam my cards. This is gonna be 9 power for... Oh, okay. Well, this is better. Like, if they go down to 0 card to Subtlety my Primeval Titan, I just cast it again next turn. It's not that big of a deal. So, even if they find Subtlety here, it's not that bad for me. Well, that resolved. Great. So now I go get double bounce. And I bounce T-West and Radiant Fountain. So now this can't attack anymore. It's a little awkward that I don't want to kill it, though. Wait, what? Well, I take that. That's a bad attack. So that forces my opponent to do something now. Now they're forced to kill my Primeval Titan. And I can just transmute for Boseiju. Once they put the Dryad in play, transmute for Boseiju, blow up Leyline, and then just kind of kill them. Because I get back my Dryad. That's not a good attack with the Foundation Breaker. They should have swung for 4 for sure, but they should not have attacked with the Breaker. And that's still not a 2-turn clock. Like, I can safely attack with this because I'm not dying on the Crackback. Shardless. Okay. So now I get a free Dryad out of the deal. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a little bit awkward. I can deal 12. I can deal 12 and go up to 12. My opponent has 10 power in play. So I guess I want to kill the Street Wraith. Because otherwise I lose to Violent Outburst if my opponent has an answer to the Dryad. Like if they bounce it or whatever. Huh. This is an interesting spot. I could also fetch Primeval Titan and cast it. Clearing my opponent's board, finding Boseiju, Tolera West. I think that's fine. So this kills the Street Wraith. I guess it's bad versus Force, but it's fine. I guess they could have another subtlety technically as well. But this just seems better than... If they have subtlety, they 2-for-1 themselves, they have no cards left. And now I get Boseiju and Toleriwest, I think. Yeah. And this kills the Waker. They want to kill my Dryad? I think. Yes. Or they want to kill my Primeval Titan. I think I want to kill my Dryad. After I deal 2 damage, obviously. So I think this works. Because if they live in it, I get back Primetime and Dryad, but I think because I am the second player, the Dryad trigger is gonna go on the stack before the Foundation Breaker trigger. The Primeval Titan trigger is gonna go on the stack before the Foundation Breaker trigger. Alternatively, I could Gruul Turf bounce Boseiju so that I have more mana and I have interaction. I think I'd rather do that. So, kill my Dryad. Bounce Boseiju, say go. And now they have to deal with my Primeval Titan, but they can't do it with... What's his name? But by having Boseiju in hand, I can now Leyline of Sanctity their thing, blow up their Leyline and just go face with the Dryad triggers. I may be 5-heading myself a little bit here, but this Primeval Titan by itself is enough to win. So that part is easy. Opponent says very nicely played. I don't know if that's like a say that before I kill you or because I've encountered everything in Magic Online. Pay for Pact. Okay, so here we go. Attack. So letting me attack. That's good. So holding on to this Boseiju for now. Can I force lethal through? 3 to transmute, 3 to Dryad. No, I can't. Because of how I paid. I actually had to pay for Pact with the Toleriwest. So I made a mistake there. Definitely made a mistake there. We're definitely getting Vesuva to copy these, and I think I'm gonna get another Growth Chamber. Oh, let's get a Garrison. I guess we do technically have an untapped land, so I force the hand. So that deals 6. 3 mana, 3 to transmute. I only need 1 trigger. Can I Boseiju before doing this? 2 mana to Boseiju, 3 to transmute, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going all in. And now we have like a Dryad and a Primetime in play, and we also have a Dryad and a Primetime in the graveyard. Transmute, leaving green mana floating. Some respect for Dryad. I guess they could have subtlety. Okay. That means that they don't outburst here, which is good for me, obviously. Could I have found a haste land at one point? I don't think so. I think I needed all the cards that I found, all the lands that I found. So I can't really haste this Saga token. Alright, I guess I can now. Yeah. I love how innocuous this expedition map is. My opponent saw it. They saw it. That's nice, opponent. That's very nice. Well, swing. There we go. And we're gonna get Bojuka Bog and Growth Chamber. This forces their hand. So their last card needs to be Violent Outburst. Their last card needs to be Violent Outburst. Bounce the Radiant Fountain. Last card is not Violent Outburst. Confirmed. Alrighty. Down to 1 you go. And I'm gonna gain 2 more life for good measure. Your turn. I think we navigated this game pretty well. I think this was a pretty well navigated game. And we're off to 3-0. Okay, round 4. What is up here? Turn 1 land go, turn 2 Steve. That brings me up to 3 mana, 4 mana on turn 3. This hand seems robust, but a little bit slow. So, like, this hand is good against stuff like discard spells and whatnot, but I think I can do better on 6. Ding, ding, ding. So I can put the Sun Home on the bottom, turn 1 Saga Amulet, and then depending on what we find in our first 2 draw steps, we can turn this Saga into an expedition map for Tolera West, or we can turn it into another Amulet, so we have effectively infinite mana. It's a little bit awkward that we only have a single non-bounce land. It's a little bit awkward because, like, if I want to play the bounce land on 2 and I continue developing my mana, I'm going to have to either bounce the bounce land again, meaning that I'm not going to develop my mana, or I'm going to have to, like, bounce the Saga once again, meaning that I'm not going to be able to pop the Saga quickly. That's probably fine though. I guess I can, like, make a construct, put a most of 5. I guess I could just, like, make a construct, play bound, like, say go, replay Saga on the following turn, kind of see where it goes from there. Opponent goes with Windswept here. Hallowed Fountain. Please don't have March. Okay, that one we can beat very easily. Okay, that's good. So now we go Cavern on Beast, play Gracer, bounce land, and now we're just gonna make some constructs and go about things this way. I don't think that mana's really gonna be a bottleneck for us. Seaguard the Sade, respectable. So I guess my opponent is gonna hammer me here. Yep, yes they are. So we're just blocking with the Gracer. Force the issue. Block over there. Force the issue. And make a construct. Opponent taps mana and then taps mana. Very indecisive opponent. I mean, there's kind of no reason to not do this right now, right? I can't really think of a reason to not do this. They're gonna have to be doing this eventually. Primeval Titan. Over Gracer doesn't really do anything for me. I guess I can make a construct and start attacking. And I think I'm gonna go for map. Again, I don't think that mana is the bottleneck here. I think I'm gonna try to crack this map. It's kind of interesting if I want to block here. So I guess I can go Cavern on Beast. Cavern on Beast, play Gracer, play Steve, and then I can use Steve to chump. But I definitely want to hold on to this bounce land in hand. So play Steve, say go. Then next turn we have Titan mana because I just fetch with Steve. So if we draw a Titan, we're going to be in very, very good shape. I'm slightly scared of this Ursa Saga fetching Shadow Spear, however. I'm gonna block here. If my opponent has Shadow Spear plus Hammer, we're gonna be in trouble, but that's fine. I'll accept that. This expedition map can also find Boseiju, which is an interesting line for next turn. That's a Stoneforge Mystic. Let's see what they get. Shadow Spear. Another Gracer. So I can swing 4. This is 8. Opponent goes down to 5. I kind of want to go fetch Boseiju. I mean, my opponent may even block here. We'll see. Wow. Alright. I'll definitely take that. Opponent's missing land drops here. They're going to lose this. And if they go all in on the Esper Sentinel, we just Boseiju the Sentinel and call it a day. So I'm not gonna play around main deck Pity Needle. If my opponent has a Pity Needle here, they can find off of the hammer. But if they go for a second hammer, then we can just Boseiju the Sentinel. But I don't think playing around main deck Pity Needle is what I should do. Still short on mana. Okay. Suiting up Sentinel. Look there. What do you got? You gonna go for it? They are gonna go for it. Let's see if they maybe they suit up Gingerbrute. Alright. Expedition map. Get Boseiju. Boseiju your dude. They do get a land out of the deal. Just a little bit annoying. Not the end of the world. It's pretty bad here. I can cast it. It's not very good. It's basically draw a card, make 2 mana. And I guess it's better than nothing. And I could technically get super lucky. So let's see if I get super lucky. Let's see if I get super lucky. And spin. Okay. 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 That's really stupid. I mean, again, I don't think I really needed this. I think that I was probably winning just the same when my opponent just YOLO'd there. But it's outrageously funny that this actually happened. It's just outrageously funny that this happened. I guess. Sorry, I'm just about to, stop the recording and go to the casino real quick. We'll be right back. Wait for me. Alright, this is Force of Vigors, Radiant Fountain, a Boseiju, Engineered Explosive. These are the cards I'm interested in. I don't think this is very much a Scapeshift matchup. I'd rather have these 4 drops instead. You can see cutting 1 Cavernous Souls, as well as the Bojukabog, and the last cut could be a Steve, probably. The last cut is interesting. I think it could be a land since I'm on the draw, and then on the play we can maybe cut the Explore. What is this? This hand's pretty good. This hand's... my hands in this league have been decent. Decent plus. Let's see if my opponent's hand is also very, very decent plus. Because if they have their turn to kill, I can't do anything about it. Unless I top deck exactly force. Okay, they don't have it. Okay. Here's a Saga. We also just drew the Prime Town, don't even have to transmute for it. We definitely want to play the Amulet on turn 1 so we can draw it on 2. I guess if they play land and say go, I'm gonna pass instead. And the reason for that is that Hammer, the blue versions of Hammer play Metalik in the sideboard. I mean, I don't think it's a good card to bring in against me, but I mean, I can't really imagine my opponents doing anything else. And if that's the case, then I'm just going to... Okay, yeah, I'm just going to go Tulare West. I mean, I could just... Now that I drew Vestige and I don't have to play out the turf, I guess I can just make a construct and say go. Because my goal here is, like, if my opponent wants to time walk themselves, that's a-okay with me. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to pass the turn back. But if they want to, like, not use their mana... This is a game that I'm happy to play when I'm making, like, outrageous amounts of mana, you know? It's way, way too costly for them to just, like, pass the turn doing nothing. It is kind of insanely costly for them. And now we're just playing our own mana leak very easily here. So, second Amulet, play Bounce Land, stuck my triggers. Definitely want to return the Bounce Land to hand here. And we're going to play this Dryad, and then we're going to have to make some choices. The nice thing, actually, is I get to play a second Dryad here. This is huge. Like, and if they want to leak the second Dryad, I'm perfectly okay with it. Like, I could not care less. And now they don't, so now I can actually make... So we can make 8 mana here. If we make 8 mana... We can't play around leak, but, this is interesting. Do I want to use this turn to transmute and play an explosives on 1? I think that's actually a very interesting play. Because we can go Castle Garenbrig, Gruul Turf, explosives on 1, and then we can't lose. And we don't have to crack that engineered explosives. But then, like, that means that I can't lose, and then on the next turn... Okay, so I guess we can attack first. If opponent makes a construct, we resolve Titan and we win. So, probably not very good for them. So here comes in an attack for 3. So they can tap out, make a construct, give it pro colorless, which is fine. Okay, so they don't take it bait. So now we can also engineer the explosives for 0. We can engineer explosives for 0. That's very interesting too. We can also just pass the turn. I'm kind of scared of this. Potentially this Ink Moth Nexus can kill me. The problem is I can't hold up the explosives because the land that I would need to like keep the bounce land in play, which I don't want to do. Really don't want to do that. Let's think. This is 4 mana. I can play out T-West. Yeah, let's do that. So play out the T-West. Float blue and tap. Play explosives for 1. See if my opponent counters this. If they do, they don't make a construct. They're not going to have enough mana to go. Okay, and now I just play castle and I'm holding up engineered explosives. Sure, they can find PD Needle off of this saga, but I don't really care. And next turn we have like double Dryad, double Amulet. Like I'm probably not going to crack these engineered explosives unless my opponent presents lethal through two blockers. Okay, so they're going for saga, they're dead. So now I don't think there's any combination of cards that saves my opponent here. But yeah, this is far and away the best possible line, I think. This hand sort of plays around everything. And if they did have mana leak, then we kind of embarrass them. I'll take 5, champ. You got me. Yeah, I don't think you needed to do that. Yeah, you got me. Here is a bounce land. Here is any random land. And I'm playing that out so that I can trigger Valakut off of this Primeval Titan. Valakut Stronghold. Valakut some face over there. Make sure that face gets volcanoed. Red, white, haste. And I guess that I also get to play around. I guess I actually messed this up, technically speaking, because they could actually have Path to Exile. If they have Path, they kill this, I get a trigger. Second main phase, we play this. We're gonna have exactly enough mana to kill them, so this is fine. Valakut Vesuva. Sure, I'm gonna kill some dudes. I'm gonna kill some creatures. Why not? Why not? For a no. Alright, last match of the league. Pretty good hand. Playing against Kaheera, which can be a little bit scary. Probably some form of control. This hand is not particularly good against control, but it forces them to have stuff very quickly, which I like. But yeah, I'm probably jamming. Now that I drew Azusa, we can probably play that on turn 2, which is nice. Instead of playing Dryad. They have the ending though. Okay. Fine. Okay, so let's play Gracer. And we get to get the Sanctuary out of the way, which is not the worst. Play that, so we hold on to this castle. So now we can play castle. We can play Azusa on 3, which is nice. Because if my opponent counters it, I don't really care. Or they can just tap out, I guess. I can play like a real threat instead. Love that. Love that. So definitely playing out of all my lands though, because if I can, I would like to, like if I draw a cavern, I would definitely like to be able to play it. Okay, here's a Dryad. That resolved, so I think, man, having drawn the basic forest there is extremely unlucky. Yeah, I'm gonna play Azusa because if my opponent wants to Wrath, I'm fine with that. Like they tap out for Wrath and I just resolve it prime time. We have not been drawing well. Opponent fetches on end step and shock, so Deluge. The good thing is that they kind of have to answer this Dryad one way or another. So I guess next turn I can throw away Azusa to tap out my opponent so that I can resolve Primeval Titan. Oh, they can instant speed Wrath. That's awkward. Okay. So if they have Solitude, they can Solitude the Dryad, block the Azusa, which is obviously very bad for me, but I get to resolve prime time at least. Yeah. And it's not like Azusa is doing it. Primeval Titan. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I'm gonna use this Vesuva to copy Hall of the Storm Giants. And let's get Growth Chamber Saga. I could set up a Cultivator Colossus, but we get super owned by the what's the name of the card? Dress Down. So there's just no need for us to expose ourselves to Dress Down. Opponent should probably minus the Fairy on their own Solitude. Yep, so they minus the Fairy on their own Solitude. But like if this is their plan though, yeah, now I get to resolve another one. So just pay for Pact and then resolve another Primeval Titan. Seems good for me. Pay for Pact. Yep. Summoner's back for prime time. 1, 2. Make some mana. Here's Johnny. Okay, so now things get a little bit more interesting. I think I want to T-West. I guess I have a T-West in hand. So do I want to go double bounce land? If I go double bounce land, I could go Garrison Stronghold. Oh, but I'm going to have an Amulet, so... No, but I actually putting Stronghold Garrison in play sort of adds a lot of pressure. So I think that's fine. And I guess we're going to bounce the Garrison itself. The Stronghold itself, I mean. I don't think my opponent has any ways to destroy my lands. Maybe wrong about that. We can transmute, which is nice. I think I may find Expedition map off of this saga, if my opponent lets me. Let's set the Fairy. I'm gonna go for the same play again, probably. They bounce Primetime? Really? Because if their plan is to counter the Primeval Titan, it's not a very good plan. Because I can just find the thing of the saga. So we can find map off of this. Here's a construct, and then map finds cavern. But I don't even need to do this right now. I can just chill on this. Attack the Fairy with Grazer. The reasoning here being if my opponent wants to stop, if they want to have their Teferi survive, they have to waste their removal spell on this stupid Grazer that's not doing anything. I could have hasted the construct instead, but like the construct actually has power. So now, yeah, if they want to Archmage's Charm my Grazer, go ahead. You got me. Feel free to take my 0-3. Yep. Yep. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. That is very much what I'm talking about. So now we have this construct which trades with Solitude, which is nice, unless they use a removal spell on it. Or like they use a removal spell on the map, which obviously is not good for them either. Mainfest Deluge. That's a statement. They're scared. They are very scared over there. Also, you know, every land plays Roggen Triumph, but Sulfur Falls tells me that my opponent is definitely playing stuff like Fire and Ice. No attacks. So we have no packs to pay for. And now we're going to crack this map. Find my Cavern of Souls. Okay, so we're going to be setting that one up, I guess. So here is a Giant. Yeah, bouncing Primeval Titan doesn't end up working out the vast majority of the time. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. Counter roll prime time. Dress Down. If they have Dress Down, obviously that sucks, but that means that, but at least I get to kill the Fairy, right? So we're gonna get Cavern of Souls plus Bounce Land, I think. I guess I could get. I played my land drop here. So I could get Bounce Land plus Saga. That's probably better. That resets the Cavern of Souls. And I guess my opponent plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I guess I tapped poorly. I should have thrown that away. Yeah, I'm gonna force some action here. So if they have Wrath, they have the Wrath now. They do. Okay. Does kill their own Solitude, which is obviously good for me, but I'm not gonna transmute because I want, like, this is an extra draw from the Colossus. So I think I'm just chilling here. I could have spent that turn to transmute if I wanted to, but don't think that does too much for me. It's nice because like spells are good draws and lands are also good draws. Do you know what caverns are gonna kill this? We're gonna counter this. So we have 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 mana. What I can do is I can make a construct and haste it and attack. It will force my opponent to tap out. 3, 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. Still leaves me 4 mana. It's okay. Here's a construct. It's now a 3/3. If you want to block it, you can. Big shark. Okay. It's not expecting that. That's definitely a lot worse for me. Definitely not expecting that. So if they counterspell this, they're now tapped out, so I don't even need to play this land. So we just Colossus. And that one you definitely don't want to bounce. That one you most definitely do not want to bounce. That's pretty good. That's also pretty good. It's also pretty good. Covered on Giant. Done. Gonna bounce what? Tolaria West, I think. Yeah. Bounce T West. Resolve Amulet. And I'm gonna Summoner's Pact right now. So then my opponent doesn't have mana up, and I can play an Uncounterable Titan next turn. Also, I have a 14/14 Trampler in play. You want a minus on this one? If you want a minus on that one. Yeah. And all of that because we like debated them with like the oldest trick in the book. Throw away a Saga construct to force my opponent to tapping out. The oldest trick in the book. No Valakuts have been drawn just yet, but we do have the Dryad. We have a pack to pay for, which should be fairly easy to pay for. The good thing here is that we get to apply a significant amount of pressure without really doing anything. Like, I don't really need to overextend into a Verdict, which my opponent, again, they plus the fair instead of minusing, so... But I just don't need to do anything. So here we're gonna make a construct, and we're gonna, I guess we're just gonna haste it. We find an amulet, and we just like haste construct, and we send, I guess we send both the fairy? Yeah, I think so. Just getting the walker makes their turn so much more awkward. So again, like they can verdict here, but if they verdict, then they, oh, solitude. Okay, game 13. We also get to exile 2 Deluges, which is pretty nice. Trade with Solitude. Still have these Tolaria West. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Medieval Titan. Let's see if they have Dress Down. Looks like they don't. Resolve Titan. So now we can get another Saga and a Cavern on 4 Dryad. I guess having access to the bounce land is pretty good. Let's make another Saga though, because it's kind of awkward for them. I don't think we need the Boseiju just yet. Also don't need the mana here. We already used the Colossus, so there's no need for holding lands in hand, meaning that I'm just going to play out this Bojuki Bog to exile both of my opponent's Deluges here. They're not playing Snapcaster, we know that, because they have Kaheera, so they can't be playing Snappy. Okay, Cycle Shark on end step. You got it. I'm at 38, so I'm not super worried about getting killed particularly quickly here. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about those. Don't know how I feel about those the fairy minuses on my Primeval Titan, you know? I've drawn over half my deck, which is funny. There's a shark. We're gonna have so much mana here. Make a construct on end step. I'm gonna be making outrageous amounts of mana. Make a construct because we have infinite mana, so might as well. Opponent didn't plus, for the record. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess let's pay like this so we have white mana so we can double strike if we need to. There we go. We're basically never gonna use castle, so we can just freely tap the castle, no problem. This is so much mana. So get Valakut Sunhome, I guess. Yep. Okay, red mana, double strike there. And I have the Scapeshift Dryad kill in hand, which is nice. So, oops, I misclicked. I wanted to haste the Primeval Titan. Obviously a mistake there. Very obviously a mistake there. Hope we don't get punished for that. That was just a misclick. Quite unfortunate. Really? So you just tapped yourself out? Just like that? 1, 2, 4. Valakut, T West. Just cards at random. Just cards at random. They could have like Solitude White card as the last 2 cards, but seems unlikely. Save targets. So now I just put all of these beautiful triggers on the stack, and they should be lethal. I think my opponent's running my clock at this point, which is fine. This is lethal. Boom! You're done. You're done. Okay, so castle out. Hydroid Crassis in. Don't really like Scapeshift. In this matchup, it's always I think I do like Boseiju. It's okay. In this matchup, it's always interesting whether to bring in endurance or not. I think that because we have Crazes, we're probably okay not bringing endurance, because they sort of do the same thing in being just like a redundant threat. The difference is that endurance does it at instant speed. I think Scapeshift probably sucks. I have to imagine that's the case. Probably, yeah. Scapeshift needs to be worse than Summoner's Pact. Summoner's Pact 0 mana, Scapeshift's 4. I guess we're not super behind on clock, even though we took infinite game actions. This hand looks good. Keep it. I mean, by this hand looks good, I mean it has a Cavern of Souls in it, so. This hand has a Cavern of Souls in it. Ship it. Fire Ice. I accept the terms and conditions, opponent. I accept. Amulet was obviously a fantastic draw. Like a way to use our mana that was otherwise going to go unused is great. The Fairy minus an Amulet, not something I care too much about, which is nice. So we get to redeploy Amulet, resolve Dryad, and I guess we get our pick as to whether we'd rather play Steve or just play a land and say go. If I play Steve, I set myself behind the land drop. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not Gucci. Opponent also is very excited about this whole F6 life, so they don't have a problem to just interestingly kill the Dryad. Okay, here's a Steve. Here's a Cavern Giant. Here we go. Steve doesn't really need to attack, which is nice. This is nice because it allows me to haste, which I love. Like being able to haste versus control just feels so good. Let's bounce Sun home. Yeah, like the fact that I can just like freely haste here. Oh, dress down. Okay. I think I still wanna attack Tef here. I can't be blocked by a random shark, so. But yeah, I mean, if them using a dress down there, it's kind of good because I have Colossus in my hand, right? They're also cycling, which speaks a little bit of desperation. And desperation is good for me. My opponent here needs to kill the prime time before I do anything, so that's also good for me. Okay, so they probably have Solitude, I imagine. Spreading Seas. Okay. You have Crisis, so don't care that much about that. Also now they have to 2-for-1 themselves for Solitude. Move to combat. Gotta do something about this boy. Nothing. We do nothing about the onboard Primeval Titan. It's interesting to say the least. So here I think I just want to go mono bounce lands, maximize my mana, reset my Cavern of Souls, and I guess I'm gonna bounce this Sanctuary too. The Fairy down. Yeah, we're just so far ahead here. Like, I just don't need to do anything. Just literally don't have to do a thing. So I'm just gonna play these on Beast, I guess. And they don't have dress down right now. So this seems like a good time to resolve this Colossus, draw a million cards. Actually, no, because we can... Like, they still need to answer this prime time. They still have to do something about it. Sure, draw 2. Now, they still need to... If they don't kill this, they just lose to this. And they're gonna... And now they don't have the fairy anymore, so they're gonna have to tap out to answer it. If they want to, they can, like... Hardcast Shark here. Sure, got the fairy. Balance my Primeval Titan. Because that has worked before, you know? They could have dressed down, though. So... Let's start by attacking Tef. We have so much. We have so many cards. That kills the fairy. That's excellent for us for obvious reasons. Here's an amulet. Do you want to do anything about it? So now is the question. Do I play around dress down? And I think the answer is no. Here's some mana. I guess I could Crisis here if I wanted to. I'm probably gonna... I'm just gonna YOLO and hope that they don't have dress down. Again, like, they didn't have dress down the turn before. They could have drawn it though. Yeah. This is the issue with this card and why I hate it so much. That is most definitely a problem with that card. The problem is that we were gonna need to go to this card if I had played Crisis instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So next turn I can play a Crisis for a lot. But I'm gonna wait until I can either reset this cavern or do something else. Okay, play that Saga. No March. Here's this, I guess. Draw 4. Okay. Just going to discard the Celestia Sanctuary. And a Cycle Shark. Memory Deluge. Okay. Draw 2. Because they're going to need to discard a gazillion cards. I'm going to discard Sanctuary there. Actually, I should have discarded Growth Chamber. It's my bad. So they need to deal with these Graces some way or another. Or take 8 to the face. We have a Saga going. We have Bojuka Bog to exile their Deluge. They also have to go to discard as it stands. Slightly behind on clock, which could be a problem. Hardcast Shark. So they're tapping now. I'm assuming this is gonna be lethal. You'll have to see it. Just love to see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's this one. And we have like infinite mana here, so I guess I'm gonna... Let's actually go with Pact for Dryad here, just so we set up lethal. We're basically forcing my opponent to... We're forcing my opponent to Solitude the Dryad, and also Solitude the Primeval Titans, plural. So, really doubt that they're going to be able to survive this. Like to Valakut your face, please. Always yes, always yes, always yield. And tap. Float mana. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 6. Well, what am I even counting? I don't even know what I'm counting. Not that it matters, but... So, yep. These ones are also going to your face. Except this one that's going to your shark. Stack these triggers. Float some mana. Haste over there. Float some more mana. 5-0. 10-0 with this deck list. Not bad. Alright, wrapping things up. Still no idea whether these Scapeshifts are good or not, so I guess we'll have to continue trying it out, but I'll say that the deck list was good at least. And I feel like I don't often play well, but when I do, it looks exactly like that. I feel like I actually I found some pretty cool lines, and I feel like I played well, which is nice. I don't often get to pat myself in the back, but this was definitely like a good occasion for that. Yeah, we didn't face Murktide, which is like the one matchup, but Crisis looked pretty good versus Control right there. While Colossus, as usual, looked embarrassing against Dress Down. Crisis sort of, grabbed the torch and was like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got you. I got your back. I can be what Colossus is not. So that was nice. That was definitely very nice. But this decklist feels pretty good. Decklist feels pretty solid. Pretty excited about this configuration of Amulet, pretty excited about the Steves and explore like the sort of split here. Scapeshift remains an enigma. So until next video, where maybe we're going to be able to solve this Scapeshift enigma, who knows? You're going to have to watch to find out. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're interested in supporting the stream, remember you can do so through Patreon, through direct donations to my content, and also I can play a deck list of your choosing if you make a donation of $30 or more. And finally, if you're interested in coaching, you can find all the information you need in the description of the video down below. So don't miss out on that as well. Thank you once again, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye-bye.